And then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous. To get it built, I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed. I got the price down much lower. Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane. It's like from a different planet.
What happens when you combine mechanical failures, an unhinged former president, and a plane full of terrified staffers? Total disaster, that's what. Trump's recent flight to DC wasn't just bumpy because of turbulence. We've got exclusive details on how Donnie Diapers turned a routine flight into what one staffer called the flight from hell, complete with thrown objects and bizarre demands. We've all had terrible flights with crying babies and armrest hogs, but imagine being trapped in a metal tube with the orange turd himself throwing a presidential-sized tantrum. Talk about needing an emergency exit. Trump's journey started normal enough with his usual pre-flight drama. He demanded his special snacks and complained the cabin was too cold, then too hot, then too cold again, according to one flight attendant who's probably updating her resume right now. About 30 minutes in, Grumpy Trumpy realized Fox News wasn't available on the in-flight TV. The horror. One staffer who wanted to stay anonymous, smart move, said Trump started pacing up and down the aisle like a caged animal. He was ranting about fake news and demanding someone fix the TV immediately, as if we were hiding Tucker Carlson from him on purpose. His mood went from bad to worse when he discovered they'd forgotten his special Diet Coke setup. You know the one, where he presses a magic button and soda appears like he's some sort of wizard of fizz. The forgotten soda system sent him into a proper sulk. Things really heated up when cell service dropped out mid-flight. Trump reportedly threw his phone at the wall when he couldn't post on Truth Social about the terrible plane service. Nothing says presidential like chucking a temper tantrum at 30,000 feet.
You hear what I said? It's a rotten newspaper. I wouldn't tell the Wall Street Journal because it'd be wasting my time. There are talks, but I don't want to talk to the Wall Street Journal. But look.
The Boeings that are coming in, well, sir, they're way behind, and they're way behind. They were way behind. Another mess that I inherited from Biden. To get it built, I took it over from the Obama administration. They had originally agreed. I got the price down much lower.
The poor staffers tried calming Donnie Diapers by offering other drinks and snacks. Big mistake. This only made him more irritated. It's like offering a toddler the wrong color candy. One witness explained, nothing was going to make him happy. As the flight continued, Trump's behavior got even weirder. He demanded the pilot fly lower so he could see his properties from the air, because apparently Google Earth isn't good enough for ex-presidents. He also insisted someone find him a McDonald's burger mid-flight, as if the plane could just swing through a drive-thru. According to multiple sources, Trump had a full meltdown over these tiny problems hours before any actual mechanical issues started. One staffer summed it up. He acted like forgetting his Diet Coke button was equivalent to a national security crisis.
Wall Street Journal. That's what I. Boy, you people treat us so badly. Wall Street Journal has truly gone to hell. Go ahead. Rotten newspaper. China's been ripping us off for many years, ever since they started. To me, I think it was the worst thing that Richard Nixon ever did. And it was Nixon, he's the one that got it started. And they've taken advantage of it. No.
And if you take a look at that compared to the new plane of the equivalent, stature at the time, it's not even the same ball game. You look at some of the, and then when the election didn't exactly work out the way that it should have, a lot of work was not done on the plane because a lot of people didn't know. They made change orders that were so stupid, so ridiculous.
Just when everyone thought the nightmare couldn't get worse, real trouble started. Warning lights began flashing in the cockpit. The pilot announced they had technical difficulties, setting the stage for what would become the real disaster of the journey. What happens when a plane with mechanical problems also has a former president already in meltdown mode? Pure chaos, folks. The situation on Trump's flight went from bad to worse, faster than you can say emergency landing. About 2 hours into the flight, the pilot announced over the intercom that they were experiencing some minor technical difficulties and needed to drop altitude. Normal people would just put on headphones and hope for the best, right? Not our grumpy Trumpy. According to our sources, Trump immediately took this as a personal attack. He started shouting that Biden's people had sabotaged his plane, because obviously the current president has nothing better to do than mess with Trump's landing gear. Makes total sense. One brave or possibly traumatized staffer described how Trump actually grabbed the plane's intercom system and tried speaking directly to air traffic control to complain about the rigged flight system. Imagine being the controller hearing that voice come through unexpectedly. The actual mechanical issue? Just a sensor warning about the landing gear that required some extra checks before landing. Totally routine for aviation safety, but routine and Trump go together like vegetables and his diet. They simply don't mix.
So you say you want a fair deal with China. What is a fair deal with flight? And you want that to...
Well, you know, I want a fair deal with China, but China's been ripping us off for many years, so maybe something should be thought about, you know, a little bit of retribution.
And it's close to 40 years old, might be more than 40 years old now. And we, when I first came in, I signed an order. Well, I think what happens with the plane is that, you know, we're very disappointed that it's taking Boeing so long to build a new Air Force One. You know, we have an Air Force One that's 40 years old.
As the situation unfolded, the orange turd reportedly demanded they land at one of my properties instead of continuing to DC. He insisted it would be safer there. Safer from what? The deep state air traffic controllers? The aircraft maintenance Democrats? Witnesses say Donnie Diapers began calling random contacts, including some foreign leaders, to complain about the assassination attempt via airplane malfunction. Nothing says stable genius like accusing your political enemies of trying to crash your plane over a faulty sensor light.
Has Qatar asked for anything in exchange for that $400 million luxury jumbo jet? And how can the American people be so sure that they will not in the future?
Wall Street Journal is China-oriented, and they're really bad for this country. Go
So you
ahead.
want a fair deal.
Arab countries and the planes they have parked alongside of the United States of America plane, it's like from a different planet.
When the pilot tried explaining standard safety protocols, Trump got even angrier, allegedly threatening to never fly commercial again, despite being on his private jet. Geography, aviation terms, basic reality, not his strong suits. The real disaster wasn't the mechanical issue, which turned out to be minor, but Trump's increasingly paranoid reaction, turning a routine safety procedure into a full-blown conspiracy theory. Talk about making a mountain out of a molehill. By the time they were cleared for landing in DC, the staffers described being more afraid of Trump's behavior than any plane malfunction. As one put it, "We were praying for a smooth landing just so he would stop talking about Biden controlling the weather." So Trump's DC arrival wasn't just a mess because of some blinking warning lights. It was his total meltdown over tiny problems that really made this flight special. The former president couldn't handle a missing TV channel without going nuclear. As one staffer who probably needs therapy now put it, if this is how he handles a flight delay, imagine how he'd handle an actual crisis. That's a terrifying thought. Next time you're stuck on a delayed flight with crying babies and no snacks, just remember, at least you're not trapped in a flying metal tube with grumpy Trumpy throwing his phone and demanding emergency landings at his golf courses.